to close out season 4 and prepare for season 5 in 2020. Now, I'm going to have a grand finale show on New Year's Eve, and that will be the end of top of the morning show for season 4. Can you believe it? Now, we are in a season right now that people are feeling full, okay? They're feeling encouraged and discouraged all in the same time. I think that we have to really take a pause and think about what is easy for life and what is easy for you in life. And you may say, well, why? Well, think about those things that you find so effortless to do. And then think about the things that you find challenging. I think about the people who go through life and really say, wow, I wish I would have known that. Okay. I'm going to share with you a few things. Okay. We go through life and, our parents do the best they can, or they did the best they could. And then we end up being whoever we are in today's time as adults. I want you to take something as a parent with you. Okay. Because we all want to be a better parent than we had when we were growing up, right? This is going to be rough for some, and it's going to be a piece of cake for others. We're going to talk about gentle parenting. Growing up, I don't believe my mother exercised gentle parenting. I don't. I really don't. But I'm thankful for who I turned out to be. I took a lot of the things that I was taught to do and not to do, and I ciphered through them. And I decided what I was going to take into my adult life and even into my life as a parent. Now, you might say, what is gentle parenting? Well, it is a calm, supportive way that we are to our child or children. We are open to being empathetic, respectful, and understanding towards our children. While this approach works wonders for so many, sometimes it actually backfires. Here's one: freedom. You want your child to have freedom because maybe you didn't have freedom. Well, yeah, that was my thing. When I was growing up, I was the oldest. So I didn't always have the free reign to say, hey, mom, I'm going to go to my friend's birthday party, or mom, a couple of friends are going to get together. We're going to go catch a movie or grab a bite to eat. Not all the time. A lot of the times, if I did, my mother was working 2 jobs. I had to take my siblings with me. And I didn't have just a sibling. I had siblings. I had 3. So when you give too much freedom without boundaries in gentle parenting, it often encourages independence, and that's good. But too much freedom can leave that kid feeling unanchored, like they can do and go and be. And it's like, yo, you still have to check in. You still have to ask permission. You still have to check to see if it's okay. See, I think sometimes when we don't put down the sandbags, them tides rise high. And then you get into the struggle bus with the child or the children where they don't understand consequences and you have to put them consequences into full effect. With my oldest son, Markel, he understood that. Our youngest, Cody, I assumed, let me tell you where I went wrong. I assumed that he learned from what his brother could do, couldn't do, the age bracket at the time, because he grew up in the same house. But this came trusted, tried, and true. You could raise a child in the same house with the same thing. I'm the same mom, right? And they could get two different perceptions. And it's like, oh, reality check. Let me take you back. Let me take you back, sir. Because you have to go back. And I have to let them know there's consequences. So if I tell you to be home at 10 o'clock and you have a whole cell phone, and say your ride ain't there by 9, and you know you're supposed to get picked up by 9:30 because you need to be here at 10. You need to be getting on your phone and saying, hey, mom, our ride is running behind or they're not going to be here. Can you pick us up? Because I'm not going to pick you up and leave your friend there or friends there, right? No, that's not the kind of parent I am. I'm going to say, oh, well, have them call their parent and tell them because you have a curfew, I'm going to pick you up and I'd be more than happy to drop them off, right? So sometimes you have to go back and re-anchor the ground rules so those boundaries can manifest when they need to. Now, another one is, and this one is tough, overusing time in instead of discipline. I ain't gonna talk you to death. Now I'm gonna tell you what I don't want you to do, and I'm gonna even tell you why I don't want you to do it. Because you have the right to know that. You should know. You should. Why can't I turn the light switch on? Don't turn the light switch on. Why? And that's a reasonable question. Nobody should get popped upside the head because they asked you why. The light bulb is out or is a short in there. We don't want to start a wire, a fire, or whatever, like a electrical fire or something like that. Or, don't turn it on because the light has been on all day or whatever it is. Now you're telling them why. And they're like, oh, okay. Right? Because they need to understand. Cool. Now, I think gentle parenting leans towards time in over times out to handle misbehavior. And when I say that, you could be like, okay, you know what? You got timeout. I don't do timeout. I never have done timeout. I really be looking at that as like a what? But to each his own. However, overusing this can lead to emotional overload for the child and the parent. Right? Because the parent don't want to discipline. They don't want Johnny to be crying. They don't want Megan to be upset. Johnny better sit down, have several seats, and Megan better sit down before she get cartwheeled into a seat. Okay? Because all that talking, we're not gonna keep on talking. I told you what to do. Now I asked you, go have a seat because I'm doing X, Y, Z. You still standing. All right. So now I went from go have a seat, go sit your butt down like I just asked you. Because now I'm reminding you I asked you. And yes, my tone is gonna change. Right? I'm not gonna talk you. Now, didn't I say? Okay, now look at it. No, we're not doing that, fam. We're not doing that. And when I see parents doing, I be looking like, okay, so you asked them, and they still looking like you ain't asked them nothing. Then you told them, and they act like they ain't gonna move. This is when the snatch and grab comes up. For some of y'all parents, you either scared of your child or children, or you don't want Johnny and Megan to cry. If you don't get them hypersensitive, over emotional children in check, the world will. So stop making excuses and because you tired and you don't feel like getting all upset. Then they needed to have been taught a couple of months back, a couple of years back. When you say something, you mean it. And it don't need to always follow up with you raising and elevating your voice. Right? They need to learn discipline and the beautiful consequences to not behaving. Whatever that looks like for you. Whatever that looks like. Because we got a lot of people out in this world, young and elderly and older, that lacked the anchoring at some point in their lives. Just lacked it. And a parent, I've heard plenty of parents, I'm tired. I can't. Yes, you can, and yes, you better. Because if you don't grab them, when you can grab them, the world gonna grab them, and you're not gonna like it. Then you're gonna be that parent out there looking stupid. And yes, I said stupid. You're gonna be that parent out there talking that smack, and it's like, yo, if you had anchored that when they was younger, or he was younger, or she was younger, or they were younger, you wouldn't be out here. You wouldn't be out here. Now, some gonna have good anchoring and get out here and just be a whole fool. Well, if you taught them about the consequences, friend, then to each his own. Now, I'm gonna say this. When you constantly focused on your child needs or your children needs and their emotions, and you forget your own, gentle parenting encourages empathy. But if you're always putting them first, it'll burn you out. You got to remember self-care. It's essential, it's vital for healthy boundaries for you and your children. I know that's hard. Now, I'll say this. I keep using the word consequences. Y'all have heard me say consequences. Not enforcing consequences. Gentle parenting advocates for understanding. I get that. But if you're not holding up those consequences, you are going to be that parent that they'll say, oh, this is what he always says, and he ain't gone. This is what she says, and she ain't gone. You got to follow it through, friend. I know it can be tiring. Let me tell you. I remember my mama taught me something, and I passed it on to my child and children. We could be somewhere and we act out or whatever, right? And she'll say, when you get home, you in trouble. So you watched her get boiling hot to lukewarm, and she kind of chill. And you thinking like, ooh, it's getting later. Maybe she's forgotten that she was going to get with me when we get home. So you good, you sweet, you do, hey, everything is great. You get home, you just showered, you try to get in the bed. And you hear them, hey, come here for a second. And either you gonna get talked and disciplined on punishment, or they gonna tell you, come here, hey, and go grab my belt. You be like, oh my. Then they hit you with you thought I forgot. Right? And my mom used to say, if I don't follow up on what I'm gonna say, you gonna think that you can do what you wanna do. And as a child, I'm thinking like, no, I'm not. But I wonder if I would have thought that, like, well, she said she was gonna do X, Y, and Z, but yeah, she ain't did that, so it must be okay, right? And then yeah, you create this normality, but see, that's when they confuse your kindness for weakness. So you have to remind yourself who's in charge and say what you gonna do and do what you said you was gonna do. Okay. Another one that y'all need to look at, some of y'all, because some of y'all is A-okay with this one, but some of y'all act letting your child dictate the situation. Now, why you could say, I let Johnny share how he feels. That's fine, because you want to let them know it's okay to express themselves within reason and definitely always with respect. But you also risk allowing them to make decisions when they're not ready that can cause anxiety, frustration, and sometimes problems. So you can't say, well, I'm going to let them decide. They're a child. They don't decide nothing. You can't be so tired, so burnt out that you're like, whatever you want to do. Nah, it ain't whatever they want to do. That's probably why you're halfway burnt out. Stop letting them kids dictate what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. But they don't want to. First of all, if you're not a baby, stop with that shit right there. Okay? Cut it out. You know when your child is not a baby no more. They should be in that baby. Okay, all right, hold up. Do I need a diaper formula? Are you still, I'm just trying to understand. Because you're what grade? How old are you? Stop with all that. Go sit down when you can come back. Come back when you could be an adolescent or a toddler. Because you damn sure ain't no baby. Get out my face with that. They're going to straighten up. But if you, okay, and then, all right, and you, ma'am, sir, mom, dad, stop that shit too. Okay? Just stop it. Because guess what? When you want somebody to watch your child or them kids and they watching how you are, they gonna be like, I'm not about to deal with all that. Yeah, I ain't got time for all that. Yeah, because I'm different. Like my nieces and nephews, they probably like, yeah, we don't want to go with Auntie TT. Because guess what? I'm not gonna keep on talking to you. My nephew and nieces, they know, and they be like, you're mean when they were younger. You're mean. We ain't coming over you. Okay, hey, because what you can't do, this ain't the playground. The house ain't the playground. Okay, if it's nice, go outside the backyard. Cool. If it's not, y'all can go downstairs in the basement. Oh, you don't want to go down there? You ain't about to run through my living room up and down my stairs. Not happening. So if you think Auntie mean because she don't want you to run all around here like this is a damn freeway and playground, and you saying I ain't coming over, you're not hurting my feelings. You're hurting your own. Because I'm gonna be like, well, you're not mature enough to come over because all that running and shit is like all day. No, y'all, no. Mm-mm. Now when they're real little, yeah, but big like my niece and nephew, even my kids. No, my kids knew y'all ain't running through my house and you ain't going to nobody else's house running through it. And that's something else y'all need to get under control for those of you that do not have this under control, because there's a lot of parents I see that don't have it under control, and it shows when you're out at the market or you're out at the mall or at the park and you telling them something and they looking at you like whatever and they keep going. That's when that shoe will hit them in the back of the butt. You gotta not let them run through. See, they learn by doing, right? So if you're letting them do whatever they want at your house, when they go to somebody else's house, they gonna feel like they can. They can do whatever they want. So people don't want people running through their house. People have nice things. They don't want things broken, knocked over, spilt. You know, when I was growing up, we knew you don't eat all over the house. You eat at the table. There was no I didn't get to eat in my room until I was about 14. I ate at the table. My mama didn't play that. Now, if you have a child that, okay, you want to eat and watch TV in your room, okay, fine, go. And I need you, when you're done, bring that plate on out. Cool. But if they want to constantly, nah, we're not about to have dried up this and dried up. Woo. So it's like, okay, if you can't do that, then you can't eat in your room. But I also look at it as a opportunity for you to sit down with your child or children and break bread and say, hey, it's dinner. You've been at work, maybe. They've been at school, right? Or at work, depending on how old they are, what season is you're in. If it's summer. If they're in summer school, they home. So they may have been running and playing and whatever. Hopefully you had them in something extra curriculum and they're not just playing every day, all day, watching TV every day, all day or something. You know what I mean? But anyway, you're looking at it and saying, hey, this is our time to sit down. How was your day? What did you do today? What do you want to do tomorrow? Or what are we doing this weekend? What would you like to? This is, this is that opportunity. Okay. Sometimes we nail it and sometimes we don't know where it's at. Okay. Now I'm gonna talk about this one. This is my last one. Being over lenient can go bad real quick. I'll tell you this. It can send mixed messages. If kids constantly push you and push your limits and they don't face consequences, they may end up losing respect for you. And they dang sure are not caring about your boundaries that you're trying to implement. You have to establish that early in the game. I know some of y'all don't want to hear that. I know that's hurting some of y'all feelings, but it's true. It's true. Well, that's all I have for you on this TGIF Friday. We will have 2 more shows next week, y'all. We have the 30th and then our season finale, the 31st. Until the next time we leave footprints across the sun, it is your girl TT from the D, and I'll see you.